is education important to society, to our society? The best selling part for education in our society is the fact that it helps people learn how to learn. Students learn new ideas by relating them to what they already know and then relating them to transferring them into their long-term memory. Once a person gets an education, this is saying that they, once they process the education, they apply it to the things that they already know. Just like when a kid learns to read, he already knows some life skills, but when he's learned to read and put things together, it's easier for them to process and read better and progress in life. This topic was chosen to inform the audience on how much education is important to society. Because without education, society would be a bad place. Education plays its part on society. Without education, there would be no rules. There would be no balance in life. So with the rules comes the education. The more education that we have in this society, the better off that society runs and flows. Education is a great way to have a secure future and a very stable life. To have a good life and to enjoy wonderful things that the world has to offer. Education is a big part of that. Most people that have high-paying jobs, they have a good quality education. Without a good quality education, you wouldn't get offered the higher-paying job. People with more money, people with more education are offered more money. People with less education are offered less money because the more you know, the better off you are in this society. The historic significance of education in society. The historic significance of education and society is very important and has been very important to society since the beginning of time. So in the beginning of time, in other words, this is saying education has always played a big part of time, because with education, with education, society grows, and from society growing from education, the world gets better, and things run a little smoother. Education make people work smart, not harder. People seem to recognize how much education is important to society, particularly during the economic crashes. So during the time when the economic was bad, people knew then that education was very important, because when the Dow Jones and the economics crashed and it was low poverty, education played a very big part into building up, growing society. Society with education. Society with education is a better world because people should know their boundaries and should know the difference between legal and illegal actions when it comes to making smart decisions. So in other words, this is saying with education, it teaches people what's legally right and what's legally wrong. If you make the wrong decision, there will be consequences for your actions. Education helps us be better citizens by teaching us how to carry ourselves, how to follow rules and regulations. So we know that as a child, that we teach our children what's right and what's wrong. And because we are educated enough to know that if they don't learn as a child to do what's right and wrong, they become adults. And if they don't know what's right and wrong, they deal with the consequences of not making right decisions. A society without education. A society without education could be a very bad world. There would be very irresponsible people that wouldn't know the difference between right and wrong. If people didn't have education, the world would be in a disarray. And that's the reason why education is important and learning the difference between right and wrong. Because without rules and without education, this world would be in a turmoil. Without an education, it would be very hard to find jobs. and make money to provide for yourself. So why is education important to society? Education plays a very big part in society in making money, in succeeding in life, and learning to know the difference between what is right and wrong. The topic was chosen to inform the world, the society, how important education is. Education is a great way to have a secure future and a very stable life, and to have a good life and enjoy the wonderful things that the world has to offer. Education is a very big part of that. So everyone that we know that has a very successful life is pretty well educated, because without education they couldn't reach the potential that they are looking for. Society with education is a better world, because people should know their boundaries and know the difference between what's legal and illegal when it comes to making smart decisions. The classic definition is the process of receiving or giving systematic instruction, especially at a school or university. But education is much more than that. It is a process of continuously learning, which can be acquired anywhere at any time and at any age, says knowledgehut.com. Education helps us to be better citizens by teaching us how to carry ourselves and how to follow rules and regulations. Having an education can also help society stand up against what's right and what's wrong, and an education helps lower crime rates. A society without education could be a very bad world. There would be very irresponsible people that wouldn't know the difference between what is right and what's wrong, and they wouldn't abide by the law. And they would lead a lot of people with and the world would have a lot of people with a lot of criminal records. Without an education, it would be hard to find jobs and make money and to provide for ourselves.